Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Friday. Welcome to Craft and Chat. I'm so excited that you guys are here. And I have a lovely project to share with you today. As we have entered into February, the love month, I thought it would be fun for us to create something really pretty today. So I hope that you guys have had a wonderful week. I hope you're excited about the weekend. When you come on in, say hi. Let me know where you're watching from. And yeah, I'm excited to craft with you today. It's been a little while. I've been doing a lot of like organizational style posts. And so, it's fun to kind of get back into crafting with you guys. Did a lot of crafting through Create and Connect. I do want to thank everybody that was there for that. We had a great time doing that. I really enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. So we had lots of people sign up for some of my creative membership groups. It was just amazing. So thank you. If you were involved in Create and Connect, thank you so much. We had such a good time together. And it's been so fun to see you guys posting your projects, pictures of your creations over in my Create and Connect with Miss Tracy Facebook group. So keep those coming. I love seeing them. I love seeing them. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Yes, I'm doing something a little different today. It's my first time to try this, so I'm hoping it's going to go okay. But I'm actually streaming live on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel at the same time. It's my first attempt to do this, so hopefully it will go well on both ends. And I can see that there are people here watching from Facebook, and I see people here watching from YouTube, so it must be working. So welcome everybody this morning. Yes, I decided to wear my cute little Valentine's, my heart t-shirt. You guys, this is from Cotton Chaos. I just thought it was so cute. I'm in their t-shirt club, and this is what we got in our last package. Just really fun. So today is the perfect day to wear this shirt because we're going to be focusing on something that's lovely, something that's lovely. So I have a few things out here. Yeah, and I'll kind of talk you through the items I'm going to be using in today's craft and chat. We're going to have a great time. Thank you for sprinkling. Yes, thank you for doing that. Thank you, Karen Kirk. I appreciate that. Susan Lyles is here with me in the comments today. So she'll be helping to answer questions if they pass by me, posting links to anything that you might be interested in. We are going to do something a little fun just to show my love to you. Today, I am featuring this awesome, it's like an oversized wood shiplap tag. It's so cute. This is a great size surface to work with for what I'm going to call like a little something, right? Something really cute that you could put out maybe on your desk during the month of February. Maybe you want to add just to some of your other Valentine designs and decor that you have out at home, or it could be a great little gift to give somebody that you care about. Okay, so somebody you want to show a kindness to or show love to during the month of February. Okay, so if you decide that you like what I make today, if you enjoy what I make today, we're going to be playing a little bit with napkin art. We're also going to be making some really cute little felt flowers that I've been asked about recently that I used on another project. So I'm going to show how to make those again today. And I'm going to be using a couple of napkins on this project today. So this is the surface I'm going to be using, this Shiplap tag. It's like a little oversized tag, so cute. I'm going to be using some felt, Snow White, Carnation, and Strawberry. I'm going to be using some napkins. So this is a napkin nobody else has seen yet. And I really love this napkin. This is a napkin that I actually designed. And we're also going to be pairing it with this really cute scalloped green and white check. I think it's going to look really, really cute together. And I want you to see the phrase on here, love is a gift we can give every day. That's such a great sentiment. This is the one I want to put on my oversized tag here today. But there's also on the back here, there is a Happy Valentine's Day wreath, which I think is really cute too. So you could really choose which side you want to use. There are two images, one on each. Okay, one on each, or actually two of each 4 designs on one napkin, 2 of each. Okay, I think I said that right. So if you do decide that you want to make this cute shiplap tag with me, if you decide you want to purchase the tag, we're going to throw in the napkins. All right, so you actually are going to get a custom design napkin by me. Okay, so I'm excited to I've already told the warehouse team they're ready to go, ready to, if you decide to make an order today, we'll throw these in if you order the shiplap tag. Okay, so what else am I going to be using? I'm going to be using white paint. Okay, white paint. I'm going to be using some good old Mod Podge, Mod Podge matte, the yellow label. I'm going to be doing a little bit of pen work today, not just in black. I'm going to pop in some white in here too, so that's going to be fun. And then I pulled some ribbons and some lace here, crocheted lace. I thought would be nice to add in. And then, of course, if we want to add any sparkle, I'm going to be using some stickles. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick overview of what I'm going to be using. And I'm going to move some of this out of the way now so that we can start painting. Yes, I'm so excited to see all of you watching in both places today. Yes, so no, this napkin was not in the napkin club. It's not been available to anybody. You're the first ones to see it. Okay, here we go. Let me move some of this out of the way so I don't accidentally get paint on everything. And again, just a heartfelt thanks to all of you that joined me last week for Create and Connect. We had a great a number of people watching and creating, and it was just super fun. And thank you guys for going over and joining my new Facebook group, which is Create and Connect with Miss Tracy. And if you haven't gone and joined, go join. We're kind of building a crafting community over there, and it's been really fun so far. It's been really a lot of fun. All right. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I generally keep my anything that feels kind of love themed. I keep that out all throughout the month of February, really until I'm ready to put out my spring. And so yeah, and especially the side of the napkin that I'm using. I mean, I think this phrase is beautiful. I think you could have this out all the time. It's one of my favorite little quotes or phrases. And again, let me show it to you. Love is a gift we can give every day, right? What a great reminder. What a great reminder. So I'm starting off by just painting this out. Hello, Melody. Glad you're here. Hi, Sharon. Hi, everybody. All right, so just a nice little coat of paint. We are going to be applying napkin art on top of this. So I wanted to paint it white so that, the colors on the napkin will really pop, right? They'll really show and pop through the white. So the color I'm using is Simplicity, but you could use really any white paint in your stash. Yeah, I think this is going to be really cute. I'm going to set it down. So I'm going to dry this side. And then, of course, it's a good idea to paint both sides. We want it to look pretty from both sides. And in fact, another great idea here. I'm only going to do one side of this today, but I don't know why you couldn't decorate something on the back, right? Maybe you want to use the other napkin on the back side. I don't know. You can choose to use that however you want. So I'm going to come in here and do a little bit of white on the edges here. I'm not sure what the dimensions are on this. I did not measure it. Susan, do you know what the dimensions are? Yeah, Susan, if you know what the dimensions are, maybe you can go in and look at that on the description and post it. I don't remember off the top of my head. And now I have paint on my hands, so I'm not going to grab my ruler. I tend to be a messy painter. Okay, so let me cover up my fingerprints here. All right, that should be good. Okay, I'm going to use my heat tool to go ahead And yeah, you can use, Lynn, yes, you can use acrylic paint. Really, any white paint is fine for this project. Okay. Any white paint will be fine. So I'm going to dry this side and then I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to paint the other side. Well, thank you, Laura. I'm glad that you're able to watch on YouTube. This is the first time I've ever tried to stream. We usually upload our videos to YouTube, but it's the first time I've ever streamed live in Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So I appreciate you saying that because that helps me know that, you know, it's a good thing and that it's working well. Oh, thank you. Okay, dimensions are 5.5 inches wide by 10.5 inches tall. It's a really great size to craft with. And I love the shiplap sections. That's really cute. All right, I think this is probably dry enough for me to turn over. I'm just painting on top of a piece of white parchment paper. Just so, like I said, I'm kind of a messy painter and I don't want to have to always clean my craft mat. So I just put some parchment paper underneath me while I'm painting. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint the back out right now while I have it. There we go. You guys, we have been having such beautiful weather here the last few days. I think it's going to stay kind of spring-like this weekend for us, but then the temperatures are going to go back down again. So I'm looking forward. It's these little bursts of spring weather that we've had. I'm in Texas. I know some of you are still in the snow and all of that. But these little bursts of spring weather that we've had has really got me excited about starting some spring projects. So you'll see that coming up soon. And also, I wanted to tell you, those of you that have been following me for the organizational series, Mission Organization, right? Next Friday for Craft and Chat, instead of doing a project, and by the way, that is Valentine's Day, but instead of doing a project that day, I'm going to do another organizational segment, and it's all going to be about scraps. Okay, it's all going to be about scraps, how we can utilize and store our scraps and actually use them, right? Store them in a way that we can actually know what we have and actually use them. So I'm going to share a few ideas with you on that. All right. Now let's try this side. Thank you, Heather. Thank you. I know the weather's teasing me. I know it's going to get cold again, and that's okay. But I've enjoyed it this week. Cheryl, oh my goodness, you're getting 4 to 5 inches of snow every other day. I can't even imagine. We got a little bit of snow here. We got like 2 snow days here. And that hardly ever happens, but I really enjoyed it because we just hardly ever get snow. Yeah. Stephanie, this is the medium. This is the smaller one, not the large one. Yeah, because this does come in different sizes. All right, I think we're pretty good. Okay, now we can have some fun. I'm going to use this little pen to kind of just clean up this paint right here and the hole on our tag. All right. So now that we've painted, I'm going to put this away. Thank you, Denise. Thank you. Yeah, Susan confirmed it's the medium tag. Let's see if I can get my lid on. Okay, so now you can see that it's all nice and painted. Just painted out white, just a pretty white. And I'm going to be working on the side that has the little shiplap, okay, the little shiplap lines. I think they're really cute. I love the look of shiplap anyway, so I think it'll be really nice. Hi, Nancy. Nice to see you watching from Padre Island. Am I using baking parchment paper or parchment from the art section? No, just plain old parchment paper from the grocery store. Yeah, just the parchment paper that I generally, you'd buy that you'd have in your kitchen. All right, let's get into our napkin art here. So as I mentioned, this is the side, this is the square of the napkin that I want to use for my project today. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut this square off. And as I mentioned, if you like the project today and you decide you want to make something similar, we're going to throw in the napkins with anybody that purchases the Shiplap oversized tag. Yeah. All right, there you go. No, Patty North, the chunky hearts sold out. They sold out super fast, like super, super fast. I'm sorry. Okay, so I want you to see that I'm going to be kind of playing with where I want to put things. Okay, now I also have this really cute scallop edge napkin. I think scallops are so fun, you guys. So I'm going to cut this napkin in half. And you're going to have plenty of extra napkins to napkinize the back side if you want to. You can decorate the back however you want. So I'm going to cut this down so that I have about like that much. I'm still going to cut this even more, but for starters, I just want us to kind of, this is where we're going to start at. So I'm going to show you kind of what my plan is here. So I'm going to cut this part down as well. So before I start removing plies, I'm going to lay things out because I'm going to do a few little, I call them, I'm just going to kind of press out some parts that I want to cut. So I kind of want this little scallop going like this at the top. So I want to make sure the hole is kind of right in the center of that corner scallop right there. And then I'm going to just kind of line it up, align it, okay? And then I'm going to pull this up to that first first shiplap line. All right, so I'm pulling it up to that first shiplap line and I'm pressing it, okay? So I'm not having to measure anything. I know exactly where I want to cut this. And definitely save your scraps. Your scraps of your napkin are so great to use especially for your paper craft or for cards, tags, all kinds of things. I always save the scrap pieces. That looks like a roof of a house, doesn't it? That's what that looks like to me. Okay, so I know I'm going to have this little piece right up here. And then I want to do the same thing down here, okay? I want to do the same thing down here. And now I don't have a hole down here, so I don't really have to worry about that. I'm just going to make sure it's kind of lined up. And again, just going to fold it down right along that shiplap line. Okay. Sometimes it's easier to see your folds, your creases when you turn your napkin over. And I'm just going to cut right along that line. All right, got it. If you order 2 tags, you'll probably with 2, we'll go ahead and just still send one of each, just because they have multiples, right? There's multiple images on the napkin. If you go over 2, then we probably pop in extra. Yeah. Good question, Lynn. All right, so now I'm going to have these little scallops kind of right there and there. And then let's talk about this one. So this napkin is just a little bit larger than these two, kind of the little, what do we want to call these? The little shiplap planks or panels. So I'm going to try to take off just a little bit of this. I don't really want to take off any of the design. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a fold. See, like right above the heart here, right below the rose. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Take that off. Now, I'm not too worried about the sides because we can just sand those off. Okay. So I'm going to go turn it over again to the back. And I'm going to cut right along that line. Okay. Same thing right here. Right along that line. There we go. You have missed hardly anything, Heather. We just painted and started cutting our napkins. Yeah, I'm using Simplicity, which is a from Country Chic Paint. Those are the paints we carry that are chalk and mineral based paints. But honestly, for this project, you can really use any paint. If you have white in your stash, use what's in your stash. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to separate our napkin. I'm going to go ahead and pour some Mod Podge. I'm using Mod Podge Matte, which is the yellow label. Let's pour that in here. Just curious, how many of you are excited about the Super Bowl Sunday? None of our teams are playing in the Super Bowl, at least that my family cheers for, but we'll still watch. And so I usually use that time to craft while I'm watching. So yeah, any fellow crafters going to be crafting while you're watching the Super Bowl? Just curious. Okay, let me show you how I'm going to take these plies off. I'm going to do what I call my lick and stick method. And I know there's different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you what I do. I just tap my finger and my thumb on my tongue. It's my DNA, so it's okay. Let's go over here to this part. And I'm going to squeeze the pieces, to kind of squeeze my fingers together. And it just helps to grab the plies. Okay. Now, if you struggle with that, or your spit isn't as sticky as mine, the other thing that you can do, and by the way, this is a 3-ply napkin. So on this one, this is the one that I designed. Okay. This one, you're going to need to take off 2 plies. All right. The other way that you can do this, okay, this is going to be the little green scallop napkin, is you can just put a tiny little dot of Mod Podge on your fingers. Just tap them together until they feel sticky, not gluey. Okay, not gluey, but sticky. And then you can just come in and do the exact same thing. Now, the little green and white scallop napkin is only 2-ply. So you only have to take off 1. All right. You only have to take off 1 for this one. It's a little thinner. So I'll do that again here just to show you again, just kind of rub in till it feels a little sticky. Also, you know, if you get a really stubborn napkin, sometimes you can use a little piece of tape or washi tape or even a pin if you need to. Okay. All right. This one's going to go this way. Okay. Perfect. And then, like I said, you're going to have some extra. You're going to have a whole extra half of this napkin, right? You're going to have a whole extra half here. You're going to have these scrap pieces, and you're still going to have 3 squares left of this napkin. You will have another image like this one that I'm using. Love is a gift we can give every day. And then also, Happy Valentine's Day. Okay. All right. I'm going to start, you guys, with the scallop pieces. Okay. I'm going to start with the scallop pieces. And here, I'll just kind of flip it around as I do it. So we need a brush. And again, I'm using Mod Podge Matte. Okay. Hi, Janet. We're glad you're here. Hey there, Sharon. Teresa, you don't watch sports either. Sometimes I'm interested in just to see what the commercials will be like. I'll be real honest. So I still watch, and we're still watching at it, but I'm usually doing something else at the same time. Crafting, stitching, something. All right, so I'm putting down a nice little coat just right here in this section of our shiplap tag. All right, and then I'm just going to kind of line this up. I didn't do a very good job cutting this one. Let me cut this little piece off right here. Yeah, I cut a little crooked. There we go. That's much better. So just gonna eyeball the center, and we're gonna bring that kind of right up to the line. I'm just gonna kind of tap it out, and then I'm gonna use a plastic sheet. So you guys, my favorite thing to use on smooth surfaces are these deli bakery wrap sheets. You can find them on Amazon very easily. It's kind of like, kind of like the sheets that maybe they might pick up your donuts with, or you see them in delis, bakeries, places like that. But I love these plastic sheets because they don't stick to each other like normal, like some plastic wrap does. And they're just great. And they kind of just lift up out of the package like a Kleenex box. All right, so now we're going to take this off. Now, I want you to notice something. Do you see how the whites of our scallops kind of disappear, right? That's because the white part of a napkin really just becomes invisible. I mean, it really just becomes so translucent, especially when you put it on top of a white surface. But we're going to go back and do some pen work on this to make those scallops kind of pop back out again. You see what I mean over here? Right? As opposed to here, you can see because you have all the green. I promise the scallops are still there. You just can't see them very well. Okay? That's all it is. You just can't see them very well. All right, I'm going to make sure I get this one a little straighter here. There we go. But we're going to make them pop back out by doing a little pin work here in a moment. All right, so I just flipped it over. This is the top. So the main thing for me here on the top is I want the whole of this tag to kind of be in the center of this scallop and of this kind of corner scallop here. And you'll be able to see it. It's pretty easy to see and line up. There we go. So tap, tap, tap. I'm going to use the side of my plastic wrap that it doesn't have Mod Podge on it now. And I'm going to smooth that out. There we go. And just gently peel that back off. You can reuse your sheets, but they have to be dry. You never want to reuse a sheet that still has wet Mod Podge on it. There we go. It's going to be so cute. Okay, so now then we're going to bring this across through the middle here of our tag. And so a little bit of this is going to overlap just slightly, but we cut some of that excess off, right? Remember when we folded it at the top and the bottom, or when I folded it at the top and the bottom? So that will help. We won't have much overlap, if any. We may not have any. We'll see here in just a second. All right, so back to adding this. All right, there we go. And I think I'm going to start kind of right here. I'm just going to barely lay this down until I'm certain, because then I can kind of drag it. I'm kind of dragging it down just a little bit. And it's perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. So again, just some gentle taps here. These sides, we're just going to sand off. All right, and then I'm going to start smoothing in the center, especially where the words are, right? I just want to smooth all of that out really well. And then once I have the center smoothed well, then I can start kind of working my way to the outside edges. Oh, this is going to be really pretty. Do you like the color scheme? It's a little different, right? It's not like your typical Valentine colors. I love this pretty green in here. Definitely we have some reds, but then the background of this napkin is almost it's almost kind of a lavender color. I think it looks really pretty together. All right, so this is feeling pretty good. Just, again, just really smoothing, using this kind of the fatty part of my fingers here. Okay. All right, here we go. If you're having trouble clicking the link, depending on the device, whatever you're using, you may have to copy and paste the link into your browser. That's one suggestion I would have, Darlene. All right, doesn't that look great? Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and dry this. We're going to dry this really well, and then we'll sand off the edges of the middle piece of napkin here. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, Teresa. I think it's pretty too. All right, everything is drying nicely. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little piece of sandpaper. You could, honestly, this is napkin tissue. It's very thin. You could even take an emery board. If you have a little sanding block, whatever you want to use. And I'm just going to sand off the edges here straight to the edge of the wood tag. Feels good to be crafting with y'all today. I've been in a crafty mood this week. It's been fun. All right, so let's take a look. Isn't that pretty? I know, right? Oh, it's just going to get prettier. It's just going to get prettier. So what we're going to do next is we're going to seal the napkin. That's important always. It is just that thin piece of tissue. It's hard for us to remember sometimes, but it is just that little thin piece of tissue. So I'm going to take, again, my same Mod Podge mat, right? And I'm just going to do a thin, even top coat. Just a thin, even top coat right over everything. And I don't do this. I don't do the top coat until the bottom coat, I'm certain, is completely dry. That's why I like to use the little heat tool to dry things. I'm kind of an impatient crafter. I like to move to the next steps quickly. So you definitely want to dry it. If it's not all the way dry, the napkin tissue sometimes can try to lift and bubble and all those kinds of things. So just make sure that it's really good and dry. And if you don't have a heat tool, you could even use a blow dryer, or you could just use something called patience, which is hard for some of us as crafters, but just be patient and, just make sure that it's had time to fully dry. So this is going to look a little bit milky, but it's going to dry crystal clear. Okay. It's going to dry crystal clear. And I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead again. I'm going to grab my heat tool. This is what I'm using. It's a Ranger Heated Craft Tool. It's fabulous. It is a little hotter than a blow dryer. But a blow dryer will work in a pinch. Okay. All right. So we're just going to dry this top coat. And then we're going to do a little bit of pen work. That's the other reason we do the top coat. We want it to protect, it's a protective coat, right, over the napkin art, but it's also sealing the napkin. So that if we do pen work on it, the napkin doesn't try to absorb the ink, okay? So you never want to do pen work on top of a napkinized surface. That's my word for it. Anything you add a napkin to is napkinizing. All right, that feels pretty good and dry. We want to make sure it's really dry, because when we do our pen work, we don't want that Mod Podge. If it's not dry, it would gunk up our pens, right? We don't want that to happen. So the first place I'm going to do some pen work is going to be along these scallops, okay? Along these scallops. And there are different types of pens that you can use. I prefer to use pit pens. Pit pens are great. They're steadfast when they're dry. They don't react with moisture or anything again after they're dry, water, stickles, anything like that. So I'm going to turn this over because I can just see it a little better here. And I think I'm going to use the small nib, and I'm going to start over here. And I'm inside the napkin, okay? And I'm going to hold this up in just a second so you can see. And every time my hand lifts up, when my hand lifts up naturally, I just skip a little space, no matter where that happens, okay? I don't try to connect everything. So wherever your hand lifts up, I just want you to skip a little space. Okay, just skip a little space. And now I'm going to come over here, and I promise you'll be able to see it. It blends in with the white paint, definitely. But you'll be able to see where those scallops are. Okay, now I'm going to do something else. This is kind of a signature trade of mine, I guess, or signature mark, or I don't know, whatever you call that. I like to do what's called a double trace. It just, to me, it takes the pressure off of things having to look perfect. It looks a little bit more hand-drawn, artsy, doodly. So I'm going to do that next, okay? My mouth is so dry this morning. Okay, so if I do a double trace, I literally just trace it again. I'm just coming in, I'm drawing it again, and I don't try to keep everything exactly where it was. This look just kind of adds dimension. I generally try to do it kind of fast, and it's okay if it's wiggly. That just kind of adds more of that kind of doodly look to it. Okay. Yeah, pen work is relaxing to me too. Yes, Teresa, I agree. It's very relaxing. All right, and I'm gonna, let's see. Well, here, we'll go this way with this one. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. So I'm just a little bit inside the scallop on the napkin. Okay, so I'm not on the outside edge. I'm a little on the inside edge. Okay, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my double trace. And again, some of these, I don't try to make them look perfect at all. They look better when they're not. It just has more of that cute kind of hand-drawn doodly look. And now we see where those white scallops are, right? We see where they are. So that's important. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is a little bit of pen work here on our wreath and all the things here, okay? So as I mentioned, sometimes I like to do pen work that's, with a black pen. 90% of it usually is. But sometimes I like to go in and accent. I'm going to use some white today. You could even use some maybe metallic, gold or silver, something like that if you want to. So I'm going to come in and do a little bit of black on the leaves, okay, on the leaves. And I'm going to actually bring my camera down. I'm going to bring my camera down so you guys can see this a little bit better. So as you're watching here, I'm just going to, again, just kind of quickly just come in, and these leaves are all kind of a watercolor style. So you don't have to do, it's up to you. You don't have to do pin work everywhere. I kind of like the look of it. Just wherever you want to add it, you can add it. And these kind of teal leaves right here, I thought were really pretty, kind of mixing in kind of this teal look. But do you see how, do you see the difference? I mean, to me, it just makes such a difference. And like I said, it doesn't have to be everywhere. It's just wherever you want to add a little bit more detail. Really easy. It's easy breezy. Even for those of us that kind of have shaky hands sometimes. That's like a little blossom there. And just come in and yeah, just start adding a little pin work all around, okay? It's my signature tracing style, Susan. Yep. And I'm putting a few little veins here and there. I think that that's pretty. If you can't really tell where the leaves are, just make it up. Make it up as you go. This one's a little harder to kind of see where everything is because it's so floaty and watercolory, which I absolutely love. Because then our things have more of a, a handmade look to them. Hand-painted look to them. So just go in here, just do the best you can. All right, and I'm just going to keep working my way around. I don't have to go back in and seal this. That's important to note when you're using pit pins. And if you're not using a pit pin, make sure you're using something that's waterproof. So no, I don't have to seal them again. And if you want to go into some of this and do a double trace, you can. I don't think I'm going to on these. I think just adding in the little squiggly vein into the leaf is enough. And if you want to do any of the little, like the little branches, you could do those too. And I usually just try to do this fairly quickly because I think it looks more natural, a little more natural and organic when you go a little quicker, because you're not trying to be so perfect, right? We're not trying to be super perfect. Here, I'll just do some little lines on this little thingy right there. Yeah, what do you think? Do you like how that looks? Yeah, so you could just kind of add it wherever you want it. Doesn't that look good? Let's look at it over here so you can see. It just helps everything to pop, right? All right, that's good. Yep, so shaky hands, you got the wiggly squiggly down. So here's the thing. If you do have kind of tremors or shaky hands, honestly, you have to trust me on this, but the faster you go, the better it's going to look. It's when you're concentrating and you're trying to go really slow that sometimes that shakiness and those tremors actually worsen. Okay, they because you're like your muscles get really rigid when you're trying to go really slow and they tense up. So try to just be light and swift. Light and swift. You can even say that as you're drawing, as you're doodle tracing around. Okay. So the other thing I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do the big red heart at the top. Okay. I think we need to have a little definition to our big red heart here at the top. And again, just if your hand lifts up, just skip a little space. And I am going to double trace this. All right, so I'm going to do my little double trace on this. All right, just on that top red heart there. Okay. Yeah, it's looking cute, right? Okay, let's switch gears. Let's do a little white. Now, my favorite white pen, and white pens are tricky, man. They're hard to find. Sorry, I'm just looking for a scrap piece of paper here. Here, I can use this Post-it note right here. Okay, I've got some Post-it notes here. So white pens are, they're hard, right? Gel pens, a lot of times they dry up really fast, all of that. My favorite white pen is a Uniball Signo. Okay, Uniball Signo pen. And you always want to start off of your project to get the ink kind of flowing. Okay, get the ink kind of flowing. This is a Uniball Signo. Show you right there, Uniball Signo. It's my favorite white pen. It's my favorite gold metallic pen and in silver. So if you like metallics and white, it's my favorite. So with a Uniball pen, you've got a little ball, like a little roller ball that's kind of happening. If you press down too hard, you're restricting the flow of the ink. So if I press really hard, not a lot comes out. It's when I go with a light touch, okay, that I'm allowing the ink to kind of freely come out. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind. Now, on these roses, I thought it would be pretty to come in and do some white accents. Okay, so you already have some white accents there that you can kind of start with, right? And when you're doing this, again, we got to make sure that Mod Podge is really nice and dry. And I kind of let my pen just kind of naturally, again, kind of lift here and there. But I'm going to add some little white, extra little white kind of around. And you can follow the napkin, but then also come in and kind of add in your own. Okay, these look like little spiral roses. It's just going to help things to kind of pop a little more. And again, not a lot of pressure. Don't use a lot of pressure in your hand, because if you do, you're restricting the ink. The ink can't flow. It's a Uniball. Uniballs have to be able to flow. And I just think I think roses especially, I really like the white accent. Okay, so let's come down here. And again, if it kind of stops flowing on you, then just go back to your little scrap piece of paper. If by chance you hit a spot where your Mod Podge isn't all the way dry, immediately get like a baby wipe or something and clean the end of your pen, no matter what kind of pen you're using, because that can really ruin the nib of the pen, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so just squiggly, have a little fun with the centers. Nothing has to be perfect. And just kind of make your little marks. So I just kind of lift. I like lifting my pen up every once in a while. All right, but see how this just really kind of brightens up our flowers? Yeah. You can kind of use some of the white that's already on there. I think I hit a patch. I'm going to clean this off right quick. There it goes. I got a little bit of Mod Podge on mine. So again, that's why it's important. Just make sure you clean it up. I usually just have a baby wipe next to me, and I just kind of run it over the baby wipe. Okay. All right, just a few more to do here. And again, it's not about perfection. We're just adding highlights. Yeah, just adding some pretty highlights to these roses. This one is actually kind of two flowers here. Maybe hard to tell. But I decided on this one to do a little heart. So I'm just going to kind of go around the little heart that's in this flower. It's just a little hidden heart. Can you see it? You see the little hidden heart right there? Yeah, just a little hidden heart. So look how pretty that looks. Doesn't that look great? Okay, now you've got some other we've got some other things going on in here. We've got like these little red kind of dots, or I don't know what you want to call them, little berries, little buds. So if there's any of those that you want to just kind of outline, you know, you can. That part's up to you. Okay. What do we think? You like it? I know, it's so pretty. So now remember the top heart where we did the double trace? Okay, hang on. I'm going to clean my Uniball pen again here. There we go. I like to just make sure they're really good and clean before we put the cap back on. All right, so we've got black on the leaves. You could come back. This is a great time to come back like you might. Whoops, that's the medium. If you realize that, oh, I think I want to go over, you know, maybe there's a few more things that you want to, you know, go over. Just take a look at all of it, and then you can decide. And it's okay if some of these other little buds and things have black on them, right? So basically just, you know, black and white for our pen work. So I think some of these little berries, I'm just going to circle in black. That looks like a little bud. So we got black and white. All right, I think I want to do this too. I know. See, this is what happens once you start. It's hard to make yourself stop. It's okay if you're late. Yes, the replays will be available. You'll be able to watch the replay as soon as the live is over. All right. So when we go back up here to this heart, if you want to, if you wanted to come in and just draw a couple of little lines, maybe like little dots, I don't know, just little white, again, kind of like little white highlights. You could do that too. All right. So I'm going to come in and just make a couple little highlights here. See that? Just a couple little highlights just to kind of make it stand out. And I'm going to do a few little dots. I think little dots are kind of cute. Let's do, yeah, maybe kind of like that. Okay, just a few little highlight marks and dots, and see how that just brightens the heart up. Yeah, I think that looks really good. Okay, we're not done yet. We're not done yet. I'm going to raise the camera back up a little bit here so that you can kind of see from a distance how everything is looking. Isn't it looking pretty? I know, it's just so pretty. So one thing that my eye goes to almost immediately is this area right here and right here. Okay, so I am thinking we should have a little fun, maybe with some ribbon or lace, anything like that. Now I am going to add some sparkle, and I'm going to do that at the end. I like adding stickles and stuff at the very, very end. So that way, you know, it just, I don't know, it just helps us to, well, I'll be real honest. It keeps me from making a mess if I wait and add it at the very end. Because if I don't, if I add it now and then I'm adding ribbon, I'm adding flowers, I'm adding other things, I tend to get it all over my hands, right? So it really is better to just wait and add that stuff at the very, very end, only where we want it, and then it can just sit and dry for a little bit. Okay? It's already so pretty, right? Okay, so I have some of this crocheted lace, and I was thinking, oh, look, like that's really pretty. We could add a little bit of lace. This one's a little bit thick. I'm going to grab another one off my shelf over here. Let's see. I think I have one that's thinner. Yeah, I do. Now, this could also be ribbon, right? So it could be ribbon. It could really just be whatever you want it to be. But I think it might be kind of, yeah, this one's thinner. This one's a little thinner. So I'm going to turn on my glue gun because I think we'll save this for like the top. Oh, and I almost forgot. Typically what I do up here, remember the hole? Almost forgot. The hole right now still has the napkin in there. I just take the end of a paintbrush and I just kind of pop through it. Okay, and just kind of pop through it to clear that hole out. Okay, so I can come in and add just a pretty little piece of lace, maybe at the top and at the bottom. Again, this could be ribbon, rickrack, you know, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to cut a couple pieces here. And then I want to show you guys how to make some felt flowers today. I think it was Patty Cashin was asking me about these felt flowers that I showed on the Chunky Hearts that we posted on my page this week. And I'm going to show you how to make those because it's fun to add dimensional items to our projects sometimes too. So my glue gun's still heating up over here. Let me make sure I turned it on. Yeah. So I'm going to put that right there. And I'm going to go ahead and grab out the felts that I'm thinking about using. I really love felt flowers. I think they're so sweet and so pretty. So I've pulled 3 colors here. I pulled white, which is Snow White. These are wool felts, by the way. They're so fun to work with. They're so pretty. They cut beautifully. They stitch beautifully. They craft beautifully. Much different than craft felt. Okay, they just have a different quality. Just so nice. This color is called Carnation, and this color is called Strawberry. Okay, so I'm not going to do much. I mean, I don't know how many I'm going to add. We'll have to see. But to start this project, and this is the size sheets they come in. So if you have scraps around, I definitely think you should use some scraps. And I'm going to show you how to make these flowers, and then we'll do all the gluing at one time. So let's start here with the white. Okay. Now, a lot of times I just hand cut these. Okay. I just hand cut these. But for you guys, I want to show you, and I want to show you how you can use this handy dandy little pin here called the friction pin. Okay. A friction pin, I think we sell them for like $1.99. It is a crafter's best friend because it's erasable ink. Okay. So if we need to trace something, or we need to make little registration marks, or like we're going to trace on this felt today, if we don't like what we did, we can just pop it with some heat and it disappears. Okay. So we're going to create these little spiral felt flowers. They're so easy to make. A lot of crafters have dies for them, but honestly, I really like making these by hand, actually just hand cutting them, because I think they look a little more organic and pretty when they're not, again, not perfect. Okay. I'm about everything that doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to start here in the middle. And this is just to kind of show you. Actually, let's bring the camera back down. All right, I'm gonna bring the camera back down. So I'm gonna start kind of here in the middle, and just start off by just kind of drawing a circle. And it's gonna be kind of fuzzy because we're drawing on felt. All right, we're just gonna draw a little circle. And then we're gonna go back from this circle, and we're gonna kind of like do a little spiral. Okay, just a little spiral around, and then just end the spiral. So start with the circle, and then just a little spiral around it. Now, if we don't like it, all right, I just want to show you how the friction pin works. I can take my heat tool and I can erase it. Bye-bye. See, that easy. Yeah, this is the crafter's best friend. I use it in all of the types of crafting that I do, and you guys know that's a lot. All right. So let's start again. I'm going to start with a small circle, and then just come off of this circle and just like a spiral. Okay. Just like a spiral, and then just end the spiral kind of right back in. It does not have to be a perfect circle. No, 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 no. It does not have to be a perfect circle. Let's go ahead and make another one here. I'll make this one a little bigger in the center. Oops, I got them too close together. All right, that's okay. Let's make that one like that. Okay, doesn't matter. It's going to be okay. All right, and then we're going to cut these out. So let's go ahead and draw some more. I want to make sure, I'm not sure exactly how many I want to use just yet. Some of them I will want to make smaller. I'll use these as kind of an example, and then if we want to make some smaller, obviously, you know, we will. Okay, this is actually pink. I know I think it's just the camera, the lighting here. Let me see if I change the lighting, if it will make it look more pink. Okay, that's better. Now you can kind of see. This is white, this is pink. All right, so I'm going to start again with a circle. And then we'll go a little bigger with this one, pink. And then again, another circle. And let's go about that size on this one. Almost looks like a cinnamon roll, right? Yeah, and it's okay if they look a little funky. I promise. As I mentioned, I really like it when they don't all look exactly the same. Okay, again, a circle in the middle. And just a spiral around. Okay, another circle in the middle. I'll make this one a little smaller. And a spiral around. Okay. Okay, so now we're just going to cut these out. And as you're cutting these, the first thing I want you to do is just to cut around the outside perimeter here. Just the outside perimeter, just like that. And like I said, sometimes I just hand cut these without even drawing them. And after you've made several, yeah, you'll realize that you could just freehand cut these. Okay. Yeah, wool felt is so pretty to work with. It's just gorgeous. So you really don't need a fancy die for these, and it doesn't even matter if you don't cut directly onto the ink. We're gonna zap that ink and let that disappear. Yeah, if you're using craft felt, be a little careful. You can still use your heat tool with craft felt. Just don't put the heat too close to the felt. And if you have one of those like super duper heat guns like you get at the hardware store, definitely don't get the heat too close to craft felt. Craft felt will just melt. But wool felt will not. So your heat tool works great. Just don't need to have that heat too close, especially if you're using craft felt. All right, so now we have all of these. So the next thing I'm going to do is start cutting in the spiral. Now this may feel a little strange to you. We're just going to start here. I'm using my little detail cutting scissors. I want to try to go a little slower on this one. All right, we're just cutting along that little spiral. Okay, pop quiz. Does it have to be perfect? No, it does not. Now, when you get to the center, I want you to cut like this. Do you see how that little, actually, you don't even have to cut that part. You could even just leave it just like that. I kind of cut a little bit around it, but we want that little, this is going to be actually wind up being the center of our flower. Okay, so we're not cutting anything off. All right, not cutting anything off. We're just cutting the spiral. And it seems to help if you're brand new at making these flowers, it seems to help if you draw a circle in the center to start. And then just kind of come back around just a little bit, just like that. Okay, I'm going to keep cutting these. And then what do you think I'm going to do after I cut them? Yeah, what do you think I'm going to do after I cut them? See, just keep that little circle right there. Yeah, after I cut them, I'm going to zap them with my heat gun to get rid of the pen marks. I want to get rid of those pen marks. So I'm going to go around so you can see. I just keep that little circle in there. Just don't cut that circle out. It doesn't really matter how you do it as long as the circle stays. Okay, this one, I can go this way. And again, we're going to keep that little circle right there. You guys are going to love these. Okay, and again, just keeping, don't cut the little circle all the way out. Okay, so now we have all these little spirals. I'm going to raise the camera back up. And I'm going to grab my heat tool and I'm going to get rid of the pen lines. All right, perfect. No more pen lines. They're all gone. We don't have to worry about that. You are going to want to have your glue gun handy and ready to go for this. You're also going to want to be on a non-stick craft mat, okay? Something that's non-stick when you make these flowers, okay? Yeah, it's super easy to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with one of our little white ones. Now, instinctively, sometimes people think this flower starts in the middle. It doesn't. It starts with the tail right here. And one thing that will really help you guys out if you're new to making these, you can use you could even use a toothpick. I'm going to use the end of a paintbrush. It just helps sometimes to get the center started. I'm sorry, this is the center of the flower, but it's the tail of the spiral. Okay, so the tail of the spiral actually becomes the center of the flower. All right, so I'm just going to start by wrapping this around. Okay, that's going to help me to just wrap it really nice and tight there for the center. And then I'm just going to slide that out. Okay, and then I like to kind of just hold it between my fingers as I wrap. Now, if you wrap this really tight, you're going to get what I call an uptight flower. All right. But as you're coming around, if you keep it kind of loose, do you see how it opens up? It makes just the cutest little bud. And then remember our little circle back here? Okay. Watch what's going to happen. I'm going to try to turn this over so I can show you. So there's everything. This is upside down, right? There's the flower part. I'm going to put some hot glue right in the center of this, and we are going to take that circle and cap it off. All right, and then I'm going to push it down onto my non-stick craft mat. Okay, I'm really kind of pushing down in the center. That's just pushing all the layers of those spirals down into the center. And then let me peel this off my craft mat so that you can see. They're just so adorable. They're so cute. They're so adorable. And they're so easy. Okay. So we're going to keep making them. feel like I have something on my teeth. We're going to keep making them. Let's go ahead and make this one. And again, I'm telling you, use something to wrap. Remember, we're using the end first. These are little spiral rosettes. So I'm going to start off just a few wraps here, okay, around the paintbrush, and I'm going to slide the paintbrush out. And then I like to take these two fingers and kind of hold it like top and bottom. And then I just kind of naturally just kind of keep twisting and turning. I kind of go between my fingers. Don't do this part too tight because, yeah, we don't want an uptight flower. I'm going to put my hot glue and I'm going to cap it off. Right there. Put that circle into the hot glue. Lay it down on your craft mat and just push your finger down, kind of down into the center spiral. Center there. And that's just making sure. So this is what the back side will look like. This is what the front side looks like. They're really cute. They're really cute in clusters. And they're going to look really cute on our beautiful tag that we're making, right? It's actually more than a tag. It's an oversized wooden tag. Yeah, it's going to look great. Let's do the pink ones. We'll save the red ones for last. So this pink is called Carnation. Let me grab my paintbrush. So again, I don't use any glue until the end. Okay, no glue till the end. All right, you can see, just rolled it around, slide the paintbrush out, and then I hold it kind of between my pointer finger and my thumb, and I kind of pass it back and forth, and I just start kind of coiling, wrapping, not real tight. And this is one great thing about this flower. We haven't used any glue yet. So like if you wrap it and you just feel like you got it too tight, then just undo it. Just undo it and wrap it up again. I cut this one kind of weird. But yeah, we'll just put that right there on the bottom. Again, down onto your nonstick craft mat. You'll see some glue may come out. So that's why it's good to be on something nonstick. All right. And now we have another one. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So, like I said, your spirals can be all shapes, all sizes. So cute every single time. You can't wait to make them, Lynn? Yay! I want you to give them a try. Oh, I've been wrapping too much here. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay, so I'm going to take that off. And again, kind of just between my fingers. Yeah, and you want them to be different sizes. Don't have to be all the same size. Nice little blob of hot glue there. And then just press them down, right down into your craft mat. You can just let them sit there while they dry. Okay? Any questions about these? Yes, they're so fun. They're fun, they're easy, and you can put them on all kinds of your crafts, like all kinds of crafts. How did my screen flipped? Oh, that's interesting. Did I do that? I don't know how that happened. Okay. So again, and then just kind of flip them back and forth between your fingers as you're kind of wrapping. And I mean, you can make these really big, you can make them really tiny, all kinds of ways. And they just look adorable out of wool felt. I just think they look so cute. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. Had a craftastrophe here for a moment. Hot glue got on my finger, so I'm going to use this. There we go. Stick that down. Okay. Got some glue hairs on that one. Aren't they cute? Okay, this bothers me with my screen on this side. I'm going to switch it back the other way. Okay. Yeah, you can practice. Yeah, you can practice on your craft felt. You could even make them out of your craft felt. It's fine. I just really love the look and the quality of the wool felt. It's just different, right? Okay, so last one. And again, if you feel like you've got it too tight, just unwrap it, do it again. I just thought these might be pretty to add something dimensional onto our love-themed tag, our wooden oversized tag. All right, and again, we're going to press this down. Now, sometimes when you're working with hot glue, you get glue hairs. You know, you just get glue hairs. So typically, after I'm done making these, just again, kind of zap them with my heat tool, and those glue hairs just dissolve. Now, I didn't think about this. I probably should have. I did not think about this, but I could have pulled out some greens to do some pretty little green leaves. So let's see how they look. And if we feel like they need some little green felt leaves, I'll holler at Susan. She's just the office over from me. And she's right on the other side of my wall of my studio here at the shop. And I'll see if she'll bring us some pretty green. So let's go ahead and put the lace on this first. Okay, so if you signed on late, this is what we've been working on. This is napkin art. The scallops checks here are napkins. This is a napkin that I had designed. It's the first day anybody has even seen it, even my napkin club members. And so we're showing the love today. We're showing the love today here at Miss Tracy Creates. So anybody that purchases the Shiplap tag, we're going to give you the napkins. We're going to send you the both of these napkins that you can use for your projects. All right, so I'm going to put my little trim right along this edge, right into that hot glue. My glue gun has a precision tip, and I love it, you guys. So it's so nice for putting down just a really nice thin bead of glue. I'm going to do the same thing here, and then once this dries, thank you, Susan.
We have
Susan to the rescue. I think that'll be a good color. Yeah, I like it.
Have a little bit.
No, I like this. I think this color's pretty. Okay. Thank you.
Light olive.
All right, this color is called light olive. Just in case we want to make some leaves. Leaves are easy. We're just cutting them out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to come and just cut this right next to the edge. Who knows? I might decide to napkinize something different on the back of this at some point. So I'm not going to wrap it to the back. That is cute. So we're adding texture, right? We're adding in some cute texture here. This size is a medium. It's a medium wood shiplap tag. It's 5.5 inches by 10.5 inches. Okay. All right. So now that we have this down, let's kind of play here. So if I did decide to throw in a few little clusters of flowers on here, let's just see what that would look like. This might be enough. Or maybe we do a couple up here. Throw in that pink. What do you think? Oh, the white is kind of pretty though, isn't it? The white definitely stands out. Should we just do those? I think that looks good. I kind of like the grouping of 3. I kind of like the grouping of 2. All right, so this is the green that she brought me. This one is called light olive. So I'm just going to cut a little square here. So again, our friction pin can help us here, right? Our friction pin can help us here. We can draw leaves or we can just cut them. I'm just going to cut them. Right, I'm just going to cut a few little leaves here. Leaves just look kind of like a little teardrop. And again, hand cutting them, drawing them, and then cutting them. Anything you want to do is fine. Okay, and I like it when they don't all look the same. If we need more, we'll add in some more. Okay, you guys like it? I think it's really cute. Okay, so I'm going to start with this little cluster of 3 right down here. All right, I'm going to start with this cluster of 3, and I'm going to start by just kind of putting almost like a triangle of glue, just like a triangle of glue there, hot glue. And then I like these when they're kind of mounded or clustered together. So do you see how I'm kind of pushing them all together? I'm going to push them kind of into each other. Yeah, just kind of pushed into each other. So they're kind of leaning against each other instead of laying them all down flat. Do you see? Kind of, oh, just drop the other ones. Can you tell what I've done? So they're not flat. They're kind of like clustered into each other. I think that looks so good. And then let's go ahead and do our little piece up here. Did I decide? Oh, I was going to do the white. I'm going to do the white. Okay. So same thing up here, and just kind of a blob. I'll just do kind of a blob of glue. So I'm going to hold this one and this one and kind of push them into each other. Yeah. Just pushed into each other. Kind of like they're leaning on each other for support. They're friends. They're leaning on each other for support. They're friendship flowers. Okay. Looking so cute. Okay. So now with our leaves here, I think we just kind of tuck some in here and there. And if they're too long, just if they're too long, I just kind of cut them off. I'm going to put again a little bit of glue down. And then I'm going to use again the end of the paintbrush to just kind of push it under. Just a little bit. We don't need much. So again, I'm going to put some glue. Slide this into the glue, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush just to push it in. Let's do one more kind of right in here, you think? Yeah, I think so. So I'm going to cut this off at the bottom just to make it shorter. Okay, just to make it shorter. Again, with a little blob of glue. Lay it in, and then I'm going to push it. Just push it in. That is so cute. We'll zap it to get rid of the glue hairs here in just a second. And then let's see. I think this one needs to be a little smaller. Cut this leaf down a little smaller. Patty, I thought of you. This is the whole, I was thinking about you today because I know you were asking how to make these flowers. So now you know. They're so cute. So again, just kind of pushing that in. So the ends of my leaves are not glued down. The only thing that's glued down is the, the part that we kind of pushed into the flower. And I think we need one more leaf. Let's go ahead and cut one more leaf. And then, yeah, we're almost done. We're going to add a little bit of a little more ribbon. I think this has just turned out so cute. All right, and just again, going to push that kind of into the glue. There we go. So cute. right? It just keeps getting cuter and cuter with each layer, right? Yeah. So I'm going to zap it again with my heat tool just to get rid of the glue hairs, any glue hairs that are anywhere. And then I pulled out some of this red ribbon. Let's just see, because I thought this might be pretty kind of here at the top. But now that I'm looking at it, I don't know. I kind of like this feels kind of, kind of romantic and sweet. I kind of think maybe I should just use the lace. And it's also a little bit big. So I think I'm not going to use this red and white. I think I'm going to leave it. And instead, I'm going to pull out this larger crochet lace here. And I'm going to grab some red and white twine. I think the red and white twine will look better. So, this is what happens when you're live crafting. You think you might use something, and then, sometimes you just change your mind, and that's okay. All right, so I'm going to cut off that little piece. Yeah, this is going to be so cute. So let me just kind of play here for a moment. I'm just wondering if I want to have some kind of a cute little bow here at the bottom, or do I just want this at the top? I may just do this at the top. Okay, so I'm going to cut this at kind of a nice little slant here, just so I can feed this through the top. And then you guys know, I mean, you can use whatever you want to on yours. So I'm thinking we just tie off a little knot here at the top. That looks cute. Decide how long you want the tails to be. And it could be much fancier. I mean, you could add however much you want. And then I think down here, I'm going to go back to using this. This is what I use, the little trim pieces, the little smaller trim right here. We're going to go a little smaller down here so it doesn't overpower our pretty little flowers. And we're going to make a bow. So I'm going to do this bow. It's kind of like a tribute bow, a tribute ribbon, right? I make these all the time on my page. So you guys are probably ready for me to show you something different, but I love these. I love these. They're just so easy to make. So I'm cutting off a little bit of my red and white baker's twine. And I have this crisscrossed. Okay. Now I'm going to take the top loop here. And I'm going to pull it. Actually, let's go this way. Let me look at it and see which way I like it better. Okay, I like it this way better with the top edge up. So basically, let me just show you this again. Here's our tribute style, just crisscrossed. I'm going to take the top of the loop back behind where everything is intersected. Now, usually I hold this together with a clothespin, but this lace is really, it's going to be really easy to work with here. I'm going to put it, I have it on top of my twine, and I'm going to come and tie a knot right in the center of it. I don't want a big knot. Oh my gosh, that's perfect. This is going to be perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and make this also a bow out of the twine. And ladies, I think it's just ladies watching. You are the boss of your bow. Remember that. You are the boss of your bow. If you need to manhandle it and whatever you need to do to make it go the way you want it to go, then that's what you're going to do. I can also use a little bit of glue in here from time to time. So just put little knots in the ends. And I'm going to unravel the twine part. Look how cute that is. Isn't that cute? This is the easiest bow to make. That's why I make it all the time, because I like easy. All right, so now we have to decide where we want to put this. Do we want to tuck it? I mean, I know we have a leaf there. We may just have to move. I don't think I can pull that leaf out. We may just add another one somewhere else. But I kind of like it tucked right here. That's where I like it. That's where I'm going to put it. So, yeah, we're going to cover up that leaf. And I'm going to kind of pull. So it's really just this knot part. And again, you can use, I'm going to use the end of my paintbrush to just kind of push that knot kind of into where those flowers meet. And that is just sweetness right there. That is so sweet. Now I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue right here, because I want this loop of this bow, just the bottom part of it, kind of angling down like that. I mean, that is sweetness. Isn't that cute? Yes, but I need another leaf. I need 3 leaves. So let's quickly cut another leaf here. Yeah, let's just kind of stick it coming out this way. Cute. So cute. Now, something else you can do with these flowers, I'm not going to do it to mine, but you can do it. If you guys have like little pearls or little rhinestones, something like that, sometimes you can go in and you can just drop with a tiny bit of glue, just drop a tiny little pearl in the center or a tiny little rhinestone in the center, and that can be really pretty too. Doesn't it look great? So now that we've added the twine up there, I kind of feel like we need to add it. I kind of feel like we need to add it over here too. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm sticking my finger into the Mod Podge here, and I'm going to twist the end of this with some Mod Podge on it just to get it. We'll let it dry for just a second. Now I want some of this baker's twine at the top. So, you know, I'm going to let it dry for just another second, but I should be able to just slide this underneath here. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, so slide that underneath there. It just kind of gives you, it makes it kind of like a needle, just nice and sharp. So let's go ahead and do a little bow up here as well. Yeah, baker's twine was perfect for this. I feel like the other ribbon was just too, it was just going to be too much. It would just kind of overpower things. So tie a knot and then unravel. And then, like I said, we can kind of work it however we want it to be. And then I think that's done with this part. Isn't it cute? Love is a gift we can give every day. This is an awesome reminder. This is something you could keep out all the time. I definitely keep out all of my love-themed things for the entire month of February. I usually keep it all out until I'm ready to put out spring, which for me generally is March. So I think it just turned out so cute. And the final thing, the final step is if you want to add any sparkle. I'm going to use crystal today, crystal stickles. So do I want anything to sparkle? Maybe I want the love word to sparkle. This has a little precision tip on it. So I literally can just use that tip, just squeeze just a little bit out and kind of use it to color in. So if I wanted to make love sparkle, isn't that cute? If I want to have some sparkle going on in this heart, I'm just going to kind of pull it around where I want it. And then sometimes I just use my finger to kind of pounce it around, keep it nice and thin. You see that? And then maybe we want to just kind of spiral around on our flowers. So I'm just doing a spiral. I'm not putting it everywhere. Just kind of again, these little, just kind of tracing those little circles. I'm going to go ahead and put it inside that little hidden heart. And now our roses look fabulous. So they're not completely covered. I just kind of did the spiral around in them. And we are done. We are done. And I just think this is so pretty. I think it's very sweet. It's very pretty. And I love the message. The other part of the napkin actually says Happy Valentine's Day. So if you did want to give it as a Valentine's Day gift, you could do that, or maybe put that on the back. You're going to have a lot of extra napkin, and we're not selling the napkins separately right now. They are just, we don't have a ton of them, but while supplies last, if you do choose to purchase the medium shiplap wood tag today, it's 5.5 inches by 10.5 inches. So it's an oversized wood tag. We're going to throw the napkins in with your order. Okay. Yes, we're going to throw in the check and the love napkin. All right. And I hope you enjoy them. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make the flowers. Kind of show you over here how this is looking. I think it's adorable. So, so cute. And we added all that dimension. It's just really precious. And now this kind of shows, when I'm holding it, it kind of shows the proportion, right? It shows the size better. Yeah. I hope you enjoyed this craft and chat. I hope you enjoyed the craft and chat. It's been a while since we crafted together, besides create and connect for craft and chats. So this was a lot of fun. So let me tell you what's going to happen the next few Fridays. This Friday, obviously, we did this adorable, lovely project here. Next Friday, which actually is Valentine's Day, I'm going to have another organizational segment, and we're going to be talking about how to utilize your scraps. I'm going to call it's your lovely leftovers, all kinds of scraps, how I like to store mine in a way that I will actually use them. Okay, so we're going to talk about paper scraps, fabric scraps, felt scraps, like all those kinds of things. Okay, and then the following Friday, I have another craft and chat project for you. So the following Friday will be another craft project. So set your time on your phone every Friday, 11 a.m. Central, and come back and see me. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching on Facebook right now, and maybe this is your first time to see me, I'd love for you to follow me for more inspiration. If it's your first time to watch me on YouTube, I'd love for you to subscribe. I've got a lot of content in both places. You can go and check out some of the other crafting things that I've done. All right. Thank you guys. Have a lovely weekend. And I hope that you get some crafting done this weekend. And I will be crafting while watching at the Super Bowl. So if you're doing it, just know that we're both doing it at the same time. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone. You guys keep creating.